Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Mindset Podcast, brought to you by the Opportunities for Youth in Africa, or OYA program. OYA is a joint initiative of the UN Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, and the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO. Featuring interviews with inspiring young entrepreneurs from across the African continent, this podcast is about seizing opportunities, overcoming and learning from setbacks, and succeeding in a variety of settings to fulfill your business ambitions. And now, over to our host.
Greetings, everyone, and thanks a lot for joining us on yet another episode of the Entrepreneurial Mindset, a podcast brought to you by Opportunities for Young Africans and the UNIDO program. Our hope is that through conversations and stories we hear from entrepreneurs from across Africa, we are able to pick tips and tricks and experiences to be able to build together as a continent. And what better way to do that other than learning from best experiences, the best of the best, but also experts from this particular area. And I am extremely excited with the guest we have today, Moustapha Sow, who is the CEO and founder of SF Capital. SF Capital is an investment, an African-focused investment banking company based here in Dakar. But also, Moustapha is known for his philanthropic work, and he is so passionate about youth and women across the continent. Through his Moustapha Sow Foundation, they provide funding, training, and empowerment for women and the youth in Senegal, but also I think across Africa. We'll be learning more from Moustapha later in the show. But just to reiterate some of the words I've heard you say, Moustapha, you strongly believe that the African youth have the tools to change the story of the continent. And I have to say we're excited to have you join us today, and a very warm welcome to this episode.
Thank you, Maggie. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I mean, when I was trying to say, okay, what do I start with Moustapha? How do I start? Should I say, what was your story? I was thinking, my favorite story of you is when you said to me, you actually were a cab driver. I just didn't, for me, that image of, seeing you, how you are now as a mentor and as a person I look up to, somebody that we know across Africa, and then relating that to the fact that you said you had driven cabs for a certain couple of years. It just didn't make sense. Just give us a little background of, how you got here. And please don't forget to give me that juice in it, because it's what I live for.
Hi, Maggie, thanks. I mean, the cab driving, working on a beauty palace, call it beauty shop, working in a retailing store, doing laundry dishes at restaurants. I mean, all these jobs are jobs at some point I had to do, to join the dots together while I was studying or having a plan to go and study. But the objective and purpose has been, of course, studying. The minute you fix your objective, studying as, being your primary goal and objective, of course, with the help of the parents, and everybody knows how expensive it is to study in North America. You have to do it. I mean, that's one of the beauty of having what we call the North American experience, where being a student and you study at the same time. Being a student, you work at the same time. It's also something that if I'm looking at across the continent, one thing that the youth are not doing enough, and I'm even seeing that other challenge. Sometimes I see a student who has opportunity now, for example, in Canada to work, but they would rather not work and then acting left and right. And these are some of the attitude that, youth need to start developing at the early stage, because it's not going to give you money, but it's going to give you experience as well. In a sense, when you finish your degree, at least you have something in your resume.
Moustapha, you're one of the leading entrepreneurs in Africa, in Senegal. And for me, I've interviewed you for the past couple of years of my career as a journalist. But you've also been successful as an investment banker. in big companies. Now that transition from banking to entrepreneurship, which is not an easy, and easy. I mean, you have such a fantastic job in a big country like Canada, and then you come back to Africa to get into entrepreneurship. I mean, why?
Let me tell you something. I still was a banker, of course, investment banker and development banker, and then now an entrepreneur. But I'm still an investment banker because what changed is now I used to get paid from someone else. Now I'm paying salaries. That's what changes. But I'm still in the same sector, and the purpose is simple. Graduating from McGill, get the opportunity to be hired by Citi, top investment banks in North America, having experience. And then at some point, the questions comes in. So what am I going to do? Am I going to remain here making monies like, what people, like it is in North America and being stuck in the system? Or alternatively, being an African, coming back, contributing to the development of the continent. And like I always said to people, money has never been the focus in my journey. That I have an objective and a purpose. That objective and that purpose was to contribute to the development of this continent. Of course, when you do that, you get rewarded. So the reward comes in addition, but the money has never been the main purpose. And these are also one of the attitudes that entrepreneurs need to have. You need to be passionate about something. And the minute you have with that passion, whatever, remember, you're providing a solution, and that solution is not a free solution. But when you succeed, then of course people will pay you. Then you have the money that you're looking for, right? But when you don't put passion ahead of whatever you are doing, you might become successful, and I don't even call that success, right? But it's going to be temporary. And in life, the most important thing is sustainability. Being able to do one thing and doing the same thing in 10 and 20 years. And that requires passion to be able to reach that goal and objective.
I mean, here's the paradox, and I'm saying it slowly because you see the opportunities, but a lot of youth in Africa would rather jump, for example, on, go to the Mediterranean, cross and leave the continent. And then we have, those who feel like, here's the opportunity. I mean, where is it, Moustapha? What are we not getting right as the young people in terms of opportunities, especially the fact that, there is an entire continent that needs solutions, which probably provides for entrepreneurship, but we don't see that. Are we missing something?
I mean, what we are missing is, number one, we are not telling the youth what they're supposed to know. Number one, okay. And then we are not telling them what they ought to know. Okay. What they're supposed to know, of course, is create awareness that there is no continent at this stage that offers more opportunity than Africa. I listened to Mr. Tijan Cham's interview the other day where he was saying to American investors that if you're looking for 10 times your dollar, go to Silicon Valley. But if you want 1,000 times your dollar, go to Africa. It's a fact, it's a reality. I mean, not only we've been hearing about it, but we've been seeing it. And what it means is, when we talk about opportunities, Moustapha, for investments, right? But the question is, how come foreigners see those opportunities whereby we, the one who lives in this continent, we don't see that opportunities? Okay, two issues, right? Either we do not do enough homework, right? And that, when I said we, the youth, or we, whether it could be decision makers, I'm talking about leaders, or people that have tried it and made it, that could relate the narrative and make sure that we groom and help the youth to know that opportunities are there. These are things that we must make sure that our youth understand that. The other thing is, and I always say this, and it's extremely important, we have to go back a little bit. History has a lot to do with. Because, Maggie, let's not forget that when we look at the narratives, we always tend to associate Africa with poverty, with hunger, with the negativity. Okay, and that has never changed and it's remained the same. Okay, and then we Africans, we have contributed to that as well. How? When we have the responsibility to engage the youth, to help them, like I said, and that started with even our education system. If we look at our education systems, everything is exported. If you look at the Francophone Africa, we're still with the French education backgrounds that was there before colonization or even during colonization, right? They left and we remain, we're stuck with the same programs, right? The history, geography, mathematics, whatever we have, we're teaching our kids does not relate to Africa. And that is even the same in Anglophone country, even though in that segment of the continent, we are seeing more improvement, okay? I give you this example. Divide Africa into two parts, the North and then the remaining sub-Saharan Africa. If you look at the North, in North Africa, why we are seeing almost all the North African countries are doing way better than the rest of it. Look at the education system, it's Arabic, right? Look at the education system. It's about teaching them the opportunities that exist in Egypt, Morocco, etc., even in Tunisia, right? And it's not the same in our country. So it started with an education where the kids' mentality is being framed to believe that nothing is positive in Africa, not our language, not our culture, not our history, not our business, nothing, okay? And that is the problem. Unless authorities, the governments, realize that the first job that need to be done is to set the basics, the fundamentals, right, the roots. And the roots is that making sure that when kids turn 18, that they know that whatever information they get from education is related to Africa. Therefore, when they get to this stage, they will learn how to appreciate what we have in this continent. And unless we manage to do that properly, we might inject billions of euros, billions of dollars in the systems, thinking that by telling entrepreneurs that, okay, take money and go do entrepreneurship, that's not how you solve problems. When you're solving problems like youth unemployment, you need to make sure that the youth understand first what's the reason why we are having these challenges. Once we solve that, like I said, you train them for 18, 19 years educations on valuing what they have in their continent. Once you do that, it's going to be very difficult to see people's leaving the coast. I'm going to give you an example. Rwanda. I go to that country a lot. And then every time I talk to a Rwandan kid and I said, okay.
You're talking to a Rwandan, by the way.
Which, exactly, by the way, yes. And when I ask the youth, what do you prefer? You prefer Belgium? Of course, I use Belgium because it's a former Rwandan colonizer. And then it's a Rwanda. And you see these kids, sometimes they're even driving taxi, but they would say, oh, I prefer Rwanda. Why? Because they have been formatted to value what we call the Rwandan identity. Believe, breathe Rwanda. That's why whenever you ask a Rwandan kids, oh, do you prefer going to Belgium and live there or live to Rwanda? They will tell you. And it's not because the life is better in Rwanda, but they have been trained for them to believe that the life in Rwanda is better than the life in Belgium. So it's again, like I said, it's not money. It's a mindset issue.
Wow. Okay. But also, Moustapha, just to say that also the life in Rwanda actually is better. But that's another conversation we can have next time.
No, don't get me wrong. I didn't say, no. I didn't say the life in Rwanda is not better. What I'm saying is,
comparing,
if you look at what what we get mirrored every times, you know, where you go to these Western countries, you see what the leaders want you to see, and you think the life is better there. Of course, you tend to think that, because listen, most of the youth that are leaving Africa to go abroad, actually, when they go there, they'll accept to do a job that they will refuse to do here. So of course, it's not this, it's better, but it's the perception that it's better. Now that perceptions has been solved in Rwanda. And again, it's just an example I'm giving you, that the issue is more towards making sure that the kids understand very well that opportunities in Africa, you cannot find it elsewhere.
You know, you said something that for me really, and about Rwanda, you know, we love to blow our trumpet. So I was, you know, punching as always. But you said something that I thought was interesting when you mentioned that we can pump in billions and billions in Africa and get the entrepreneurs to solve problems, but if we don't change their mindset, they will never will. And I remember the story I read the other day about how, you know, all these unicorns raising money across the continent are actually not African owned. And it posed a big question to me, like, okay, what's going on? Are we really raising the money? Are we really not even sure what we're doing in our own continent? I just want you to help me link entrepreneurship and mindset together, because at the end of the day, for us, this show is beyond just wanting to be Moustapha, but being better than Moustapha. You've been there, but we want to walk it and walk it to another level. What are some of the things they don't tell entrepreneurs?
No, that's what I was saying earlier. What we don't tell them is to believe in Africa. And again, we can have this conversation for an hour, and I'm going to use that word a million times. Like,
how do you believe without money, without financing, without capital, Moustapha?
No, that's what I'm saying. I always say that people think entrepreneurship is about money, but entrepreneurship is about opportunity, right? The money will follow once you know exactly what you want to do. Name me one someone with a clear mindset, clear idea of what he wants to do. And it's not only having your idea, sitting, you know, in your house and saying, oh, you know what, I have this idea, but do the proper things, do the back of envelope analysis, right? Do your business plan, right? Have your mind, your mindset and the attitude, you have everything written in the paper properly. You have the right attitude, and go see investors. Who are these investors, right? Parents, number one, right? And I'll tell you why I'm telling you it's not a problem. How many parents will sell everything that they have to put their kids in a ship so they can travel to Europe?
Many.
How many parents are ready to do that? And we're talking about according to this poor standard. We said, I don't like the word poor, but these are coming from family that are finding issue to join meal together, but they will find the way to raise $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, sometimes $4,000 to put their kids in the ship, right? Take that money, give it to that kid who really wants to start something, and give it to them. If they have the same faith of commitment, that they will have the same commitment that they have by taking their life, their risk in the ship. If they have the same commitment with their $1,000 that you are giving it to them, I bet in 2-3 years, they will make out of it. And I'm not saying this. When I said this, people might say, oh, you know what, it's easy to sit behind your desk and saying that. But no, it is something I have experienced, because where I'm from, which is Kaula, I have done some experiences. I've picked up women, 5,800 women, and I give them money. And I said, this is a loan. And these are nano loans, no interest payment. And I said, I'm going to give you an opportunity to start a business, right? I give it to them. In less than 10 months, they paid me back all the capital. And all of them has managed to multiply it by 5 or by 10, the amount of capital that was given to them. And they started with what? $25, $50, maximum $500. These are the women. Now, how come women manage to do that and youth cannot manage it? You see, that's what I was saying earlier. we don't have the courage to tell them the truth. If you want to help someone, you have to tell him what he has to do and maybe how to do it. And that's what we are missing again. It's not that opportunity, we don't have opportunity here, but we do not have the right mindset. Because trust me, once you get the right mindset, you have a clear business, a clear idea about what you want to do in business. Trust me, it's not going to be difficult to find someone who's going to inject money in it. That, again, I am saying this because I am experiencing it. Every day, I receive on average 3 to 5 young entrepreneurs that have their ideas and they come to see me. Some of them are doing very well, but some of them, like I said, do not have the right mindset. And also, this is the reality and the honesty that we have to put in their faces, so they know that things cannot just happen. You wake up one day and things happened. You need to put yourself in that situation, right? Again, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying everybody who's looking for capital have capital, because lack of capital for entrepreneur is not only a problem in Africa. Trust me, it's a problem in North America. It's a problem in Europe. It's a problem everywhere. Because when you start a business, in the normal world, when you're starting a business, government is not giving you money. When you start a business, you go see your parents, you go see your friends, they will give you what to start a business with. And once you reach a certain level, then there might be where governments can be involved by putting together some entrepreneurship programs in the mix with banks and etc. in order to help you grow. That is when you might start having challenges, right? But like I said, as long as we put in our minds, or we put in the youth mindset that the only way they can become an entrepreneur is if the government give them money, we are missing the big picture. Trust me, what they need, of course, it's money. Nobody denies it, but they need a mindset. They need people to tell them how it works. We cannot reinvent the wheels. When Steve Jobs has started Apple's, he went to put one friend, which is Steve Wozniak. They started in their garage. They went to see other people's from the same campus. Same thing for Mark Zuckerberg. Get money with that friends. It's a raising capital, accepting to share their companies. There you might have idea. It's another problem. You might have idea, but idea is nothing. Trust me, everybody has idea. But idea is nothing. When you have ideas, you need to go get someone who is good on what would make your business more successful that you don't have. Because you cannot be a genius in a way where you have the know-how, you have the mindset, you have the money, you have everything to make your business. It's not going to work. You have ideas, you bring someone who has something that could help you turn that idea into something, right? You need money. You need someone who is good in marketing. Then you join forces together. You set up that companies. When you set up that companies and you know that you're looking for money, but you don't have the money, go look for someone who has the money and also the expertise to help you in managing that business. These are a mix of attitude that we need to tell them. We need to tell our youth that these are the right attitude that you need to have. No top 500 listed companies have been founded by one person. No Fortune 500 companies is owned by a single person for above 20%. No. And if you look at in Africa, what is the issue with the youth? And even sometimes not even the youth. It's even an issue with mature own business, big own business peoples. They owned their company 100% themselves. And trust me, that is not the narrative we need to share. That's why I said perception, reality is something that we need to help our youth.
Wow. And they need to seek partners. I think you mentioned that, and for me, it's very important because Yeah, like I guess these are not things you hear every day, that you cannot, for example, get funding if you're just a one founder with 100%. And I think a lot of people out there don't really realize this. But Moustapha, we speak to you because you are unique. We admire what you've done. You are, in this space, you've created a lot of impact through the work at SF, but also, SF Capital, but also with the foundation. I mean, what are some of those things you live by every day, that even on a day when you, back in the day, I can't say now, of course, now it's hard for you to say, this thing, of course, back in the day, what are some of those things that you lived by at the time, that even when it was your worst day, you kept moving?
Challenge. Again, the same way I was honest to tell the youth what they need to have, the same way I have to be honest to tell also that indeed the challenges you might face in Africa, even though opportunities are there, but the challenge you might face in Africa would be tougher than in other part of the world. And that is a mentality issue. It's funny, I was talking to my brother during lunchtime about his work. And he was telling me the challenge he was having with people always trying to, to hinder his job, blockage and, hurdles and left and right, and I was telling him, my brother, I mean, it's easy to sit where you sit and think, sometimes life is beautiful for everybody, but I can tell you that myself, you have no idea how many challenges, how many problems, because here in Africa, when you wake up every day, instead of spending 70 times of your problems thinking of how to make your business progress and 30% dealing with challenges, here you're spending 70% of your times dealing with challenges. And those challenges, unfortunately, are not challenges that are normal to your business activities. These are challenges that someone might sit right next to your house, or someone that you grew up with, or someone you're seeing you having a beautiful life according to their standards, probably driving the type of cars and etc. And they said, you know what, why him and not me? And then they will start creating, conditions for you to fail. That is a fact, and we have to admit it. But you know what, like I said, in every negative things, there's something positive that comes out of it, right? The fact that you have these people every single day, trying to sabotage you, trying to create problems, trying to do everything they could for you to become like them, that gives you stronger muscles and stronger mindset to strive and focus on your business. And that is a reality. And it's something also we have to accept and admit that it's a problem in Africa. If Moustapha is a Senegalese doing advisory firm, if a French company or an American company is come to propose the same thing that Moustapha can do, the fact that it's Moustapha might be a problem. Okay, it's a challenge, it's a fact. But like I said, that should be a plus. It's not easy, it's a big challenge, but trust, right next to every challenge, there is an opportunity. Okay, and that opportunity is just to strive to improve yourself and to make you better and to convince the people that you can do it. And that comes, like I said, with a lot of belief, that comes with a lot of trusting yourself, trusting your environment, and making sure that you understand one thing, that in this life, if you are going to make it, I'm not saying people cannot help you, because we all need some help, but believe that you are the driver. And whoever has to come in addition, thanks God. But make no mistakes by thinking that for you to achieve something, somebody else has to come and help you. That is the biggest mistake that entrepreneurs are doing. That is the biggest mistake that the African youth are doing at the moment. There are companies youth that are doing extremely well. If I see what is happening in Senegal lately, we have few companies, I could name one. It's one of the youth that I admire the most in this continent. His name is Hadim Lo. He created a company called PAPS. He's a young that I've been following for a while now. And like I said, he has the mindset, he's open. He recently raised $4.5 million US. But if you see this kid, how he behaved and how he's running his company, it tells you that what we need is the right mindset. And trust me, even myself, I'm desperate to invest in his company, but there is no room for me. He's having whatever he needs, right? And I just mentioned the name of Hadim, but there are so many others. In Rwanda, it's the same. In Nigeria, it's the same. One of the other things also we are failing, and I think this is a mix of issue that our governments and sometimes even the media are not doing it, is they're not showing the youth that some are making it in Africa. We are good at promoting a football player, right? We are good at promoting a singer. We are good at promoting a politician, but we are very bad at promoting a successful entrepreneur. No, it's a fact.
You're doing that now, Moustapha.
But we need to do it more. It is not normal that the space to promote an actor, the space to promote a successful football. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they are part of it. Trust me, and it's good to do it. But let's give them the same space we're giving to others. Let's be so proud the way that we take a singer saying something, we share it in TikTok within everyone. Let's see that Hadim Paps that is very successful. We share it with people, so people to know that you can be successful in football, you can be successful in music, you can be successful in politics, but there are some entrepreneurs that are changing this continent. We shouldn't be shy from doing it, right? And that Hadim, for him to shine, he has to go pay a company, right? In order for this company to talk about him, talk about his company, and talk about what he does. And that's something that, again, like I said, we need to change. We need to be comfortable enough. And I'm going to give you another example. In South Africa, there is a guy called, I think, Vusi. Vusi, I'm sure you heard the name.
I know Vusi. He speaks a lot.
He speaks a lot. When I open TikTok and I go to South Africa, TikTok, when you go to a country, you open TikTok, it's going to give you the trend in that country, right? So if I go to South Africa, 60% of videos talks about Vusi or businesses. 60% talk about Vusi and business, and then you have entertainment, etc., etc. If you open TikTok in Senegal, 100% of the content, 100%, like I said, of the content is for leisure. It's either the movies or the singers or the dance or etc., etc. And it's sad to say this, but it's a hint. It's a hint of what is going on. We need to show them. We need to promote. We need to show to young that there are kids, there are other youth that made it here locally. We need to show it to them. If we show it to them, then they will believe that there is a possibility for them to do so. But if we're showing them that for you to be successful, you need to be a singer. The success rate of being a singer is very low. If we show them that for you to be successful, you need to be the footballer, the success rate of being a footballer is very low. But if we show the youth that education is extremely important, then we show them people that have studied and are very extremely successful with what they do from studying. Trust me, you will see that a lot of kids will believe in education. For those who don't believe, if we show them the example of entrepreneurs who are high school dropout or university dropout and that managed to make it, if we show it to them, then they will believe that education might not be for everyone, but you need to get at least the basics educations. And once you don't believe that you cannot be successful, follow your passion, have this attitude, and become successful like these guys.
Moustapha, you've mentioned. Oh wow, I am taking lessons myself as well as an aspiring entrepreneur. But you've mentioned something around, partnerships and the right mindset. And if let me just put myself in the shoes of an entrepreneur out there who has the right mindset, has literally everything you've mentioned, but is trying to build a team and a business. What would you tell me?
I'm going to be honest with you. Building a team is very difficult. It's another challenge. And myself, I'm facing it every day because, like I said, the mindset and the mentality is a challenge, right? But like I said, again, every challenge comes with an opportunity, right? Number one, like I said, if you have a business idea, and you know that, like, for example, I give you my example. I know that I'm not the best manager, just when it's come to managing people, right? But I know that I'm good at securing transactions. I'm good at closing transactions, right? But you need to have employees, but you need to manage them. And I know that I'm not the best manager. What I did is I went and hired a former bank MD, former strategist, who is very good at managing people. And I brought him next to me and he's helping me manage those people, right? Again, having an idea is not enough, right? Once you have that idea and you put that idea clear on the paper that this is how I want to achieve, this is the objective I want to achieve, then you have to ask yourself how I'm going to achieve this. And then that's starting with bringing other people's. Do you need to bring someone, other partner, share the company with him so he can focus on this? You need money, okay. Rather than expecting free money, go look for someone who can bring money and then help you grow your business, right? Externalize, right? And train people. That's how you manage to get what you need to get. Other manager. And trust me, these are not challenges that only African entrepreneurs face. I mean, every nation in the world faces the same challenge. Even in Canada, who is perceived as being the country with the biggest success in small businesses, entrepreneurs face the same challenge. It's the exact amount of challenge. But again, it requires putting people together, training them. And again, sometimes people are saying, yeah, you spend a lot on trainings. The problem is you train people and they leave. And exactly what is happening. I'm spending a lot on training capacity, I'm recruiting people, but once you recruit them, a year after, then they leave, then they go somewhere else, right? And people are like, yeah, but you need to. I'm like, no, I'm going to continue to do this because if you don't do this, then they come, they don't have the trainings. And if they don't have the training, they remain to say, what are you going to do, right? So it's an investment. Not every investment bring returns tomorrow. Not every investment bring return, period. But you have to know that, try to do your homework, do your investments, hire people. Some will be good, they will stay, some will leave. That's the way for entrepreneurship. The life of employment, the employment stability in SMEs is extremely volatile. People will come and again will go. But you need to be persistent. You need to be motivated. You have to make sure that also you pass on your motivations and your mindset to some of them. And it's a challenge. It's very difficult, but not impossible. And like I said, every entrepreneur, whether you're based in China or you're based in South Africa, or you're based in the US, or you're based in Senegal, or you're based in Rwanda, or you're based in Kigali, you will face the same challenge. It's a fact.
Wow. Moustapha, we have not a lot of time left, but I want to get a little bit personal. Is there one moment where you ever felt like quitting? One that you could share with us that has been your biggest blow ever?
I did, and trust me, it's not only one moment. It's several times, and sometimes you be who you are. You do what you think is right. You make a lot of sacrifice, right? And there is someone right next to you who is trying to do everything to put your business down or to put you down for just free. Those things happened to me not even last week. Okay. Then you see, the one thing that is extremely important, and because you said personal, I will talk about personal and not business relationship, and not business, is a faith. You see, I'm saying that I'm not the most religious person that you can see in life, but I know one thing: nobody trusts God better than I do. There's a difference between believing in God and trusting God. Believing in God is religious. It's like you believe that, you're Muslim, you're a good Christian, and then God is God, etc., etc. Okay. That he's the only and one. Okay. That is, in fact, that's the only thing that we all have in common. Whether you're Christian, you're Jew, you're Muslims, etc. We all believe in God. But trusting God is what? Trusting God is you put God before everything, ahead of everything you do. And then you have the right attitude. When you fight for something and you don't have it, and you fought for something, you really fought for something and you don't have it, you turn to God, you say, thank you, by believing that that opportunity might not be yours. But the hard work, the work that you put and fail to get that hard work will pay. A lot of people measure it, say it in a different way. You fell 7 times, you fell 6 times, etc., etc. People don't fail because they want to fail. People fail for some reasons. If you want to do something, you're good at it, and you know that if you start this, you will fail, you will not start it. When you want to start something and you're good and you have a belief, when you're starting it and you're pushing it, you believe that you are going to achieve it. But you don't have control about everything in life. That control for me, every time when it comes, I said, you know what? It wasn't God's plan. Then I moved to the next opportunity. That mindset, that mentality is something that, again, culturally speaking, is not easy for us to have in Africa, because whenever you fail, it's a fault of something, right? Someone has voodoo you. Someone has done this. Someone has done this. There would always be someone to do something. But as long as you try to have control about your life and your destiny and everything as much as you can, failure is just going to be a next opportunity and not a failure. And that's where I come, like, for example, if you look at Oprah Winfrey or Michael Jordan, when they said, I failed 7 times, and that failure is because when they fail, they didn't give up, because they knew that it was not the end of the world, right? They would get up again, they push, they fail. They push, they fail, like Denzel Washington, fail 7 times, get up 8 times. Fail big. Failing is what successful people do. Successful people, they fail. And it's through their failure that they learn. Now, the difference is either you fail, you don't learn, or you fail, you learn with it. And once you fail and you learn with it, it gives you more muscles and more belief. And that is, again, this is personal. And again, because you ask a personal questions and I provide the personal answer, This is my personal belief. And I'm not saying everybody should do the same thing, but personally, this is the main reason why every time I want to quit, sometimes I you know what, let me pack everything and go back to Canada. I've made, enough investments that could secure at least my kids' educations and tuitions, and at least have the same normal life. And I said, no. you cannot quit, because if you quit, there would be 1,000 kids right next to you who would quit. Don't think of yourself. Don't be selfish anymore. You have to push hard, because there are, trust me, every time I go out, not even lunch times, you go to a place, you see someone is like, oh, they come, they get up to a table, they come to you and they said, oh, Mr. So, okay, my name is this, I'm following you on the social media, you're very inspiring us, and etc. Every time I think of those people, I cannot quit, and I have to fight and work harder, because there are two types of people now next to me. Those who doesn't want me to quit because I inspire them. Those who wants me to quit because they want me to be like them. So to choose, it's easy. I choose not my parents anymore, not my wife, not my kids, not my family. These are no longer my primary source of motivation. My primary source of motivation is the amount of youth right next to me that are interested to finance because they saw Moustapha being in finance. They're interested to being successful because they think Moustapha is successful and I want to be like him. For me, these are the ones that motivate me. These are the reason why I want to wake up every day. These are the reason why I want to go to the office. These are the reason why I want to do well as much as I can. These are the reason why I'm avoiding making mistakes as much as possible. These are the reasons of my existence now, and no longer my family. And I'm not saying my family is not important. My family is family. But what motivates me in the business world anymore is no longer my family. It's that group of youth that wants to become like me.
Wow. Moustapha, we're going to be moving forward. But as we wind up, I want to find out, how is your typical day like? Because, you hear people say, never sleep for more than a certain hours, or you should sleep a certain amount of hours, or you should work a certain amount of hours. What is your typical day like?
Listen, I don't spend too much time in the office, but I spend too much time on my phone. And that, trust me, it's normal, because most of my job is through my phones, and we can't sometimes, like if I wake up, let's say, it happens every time, in the middle of the night, I think of solutions. Then I wake up. Then I like my stuff, I write, send an email, 3 a.m. Some of my partners even are saying, dude, do you not sleep? Because you're sending me texts at 3 a.m. in the morning. Yes, I sleep, because I said to myself, this came in my mind, right? The solutions, I have to write it down, or I have to send it to them. In any case, I'm not expecting someone to read my emails or to read my messages at 3, unless he's like me, right? So, and that is a problem, because most of my entourage, my wife wasn't happy at the beginning. My closest friends are not, because Saturday we're sitting in Sally everybody's having fun, and I'm on my phone. They're complaining, but I was like, rest assured, I'm not on TikTok. I'm not on Snapchat. I'm not on Facebook. I'm working, okay? And like I said, it's just how you organize yourself. Like I said, I don't have to be in the office at 7 or 6 and then leave in the office at 10 p.m. That's not my lifestyle. That's not how I work. I need to be in environment where I can be free, because my jobs require a lot of stress. And by being in an office closed, it's just adding stress to me. So the environments, the more relaxed the environment is, easier for me to think of solutions. So that doesn't mean that others have to do the same, because my jobs require focus, being on the phone all the times, right? And it might not be the life of someone, for example, who is starting, let's say, a poultry business, where you spend a lot of times in that field, right? And then making sure that everything is right. So again, I don't go by the book. unfortunately, is saying, no, you have to sleep 8 hours, 10, or sometime I can stay 3 days and just sleeping 3 hours. Sometimes I can even wake up at noon. Again, like I said, it depends on how you organize yourself. I'm not good at doing two things at the same time, where most of the people are good at doing it. It's because I'm not good at doing sometimes. That's why when I'm on the phone and you're talking to me, I don't pay attention to you, because what I'm doing on the phone, if I lost it and I say hi to you and I start engaging communication, then I forget what I have to do. It's just an organization. I mean, you cannot tell people to do the same thing that you're doing. Okay, there is a basic, there's fundamentals, and these are strategy, these are having the right mindsets and everything, the positive mindset. Yes, every entrepreneur need to have the right mindset, to put the strategy, implement your strategy, etc., etc. Good at sales, everything is good. But how you organize yourself, I cannot ask you, Maggie, this is how I organize myself. This is how you should organize yourself. And that's also another mistake that others are doing, and which I'm not following.
So you have to create your own rules and, live by them.
Absolutely.
Wow, Moustapha, I'm gonna end on this note. For me, I think it's inspiring, and one of the lessons I've picked is, fall forward. You have to have passion for what you create, but most importantly, turn challenges into opportunities and have the right mindset. I have no better way to put that, but. Obviously, this we want to get from you, not from us. So I read a little bit about the Moustapha Sow Foundation and what you've done with the women and youth, and the story you've shared about how you've given them money and they've turned their businesses around. As we wind up in one word, maybe in a one statement, maybe you could just give us an idea of the kind of impact you have had in that and how important it is to actually give back, because this is, I think, one of the steps we miss. I always say, sometimes it's not about buying people, shoes or mosquitoes, but give them mosquito nets, give them something that is tangible, that turns around their businesses. And even when I hear a lot of stories of, this person built this and that, I'm thinking, okay, how is that going to support the people, not to just be dependent, but to also create their own paths? And I find that so phenomenal. And I would leave the floor to you to leave us with a message as we go out there to become better than you and sit on the same table. In what 3 words would you leave with us? What tips would you give us?
I mean, we get back to opportunities. By 2015, according to studies, Africa population will be over 1 billion, and 70% of that populations are youth. That is not a threat. That's an opportunity. Okay, number one. Number two, where there's a saying that Africa is the richest continent and the poorest continent. Why? Because we African, we don't exploit that rich lands and everything, agriculture, mining, oil and gas, and all those opportunities at the moment is not fully benefiting Africa, right? What it means, these are the opportunities. We have so many youth, and then we have reached a continent that we haven't exploited yet. What it means is, let's think of leadership influencer, which means that people that have managed to do well. Youth, because they're part of it. We need to sit down and see, how do we make sure that now what we've lived since the independence days, we will not going to live that again. How do we make sure that now it's going to be befitting African peoples, right? Open for partnership and not the other way around, right? That for me is the message. Let's not wind about the opportunities of how many kids someone have and etc. That's none of people's business. People have the right to have 100 kids if they want to. That's their right. Okay. You cannot tell people because I have 2 kids, you need to have 2 kids. Number one. Number two, let's help them get education. Let's improve our educational system. Educational systems cannot just be conventional studies, but training, right? For example, in Senegal, there's a lot of training centers that are being opened just to make sure that those who cannot study with education at least have the right trainings to be a mechanical, not engineer, but at least have the backgrounds of mechanics and carpenter and et cetera, right? Once we have that together, governments can work together with private sector to make sure that whatever we are doing in this continent now has to benefit. We call it that local content idea. We have to make sure that we empower. Government also must have the objective of creating champions. We shouldn't be afraid of protectionism. Protectionism it's a problems for someone, for some, and it's a good. But trust me, every country has the right to protect the economy. You need to protect your economy. Once you protect your economy, meaning what? Meaning you make sure that your economy benefits the population from number one. Number two, then building for partnership. But you cannot start with partnership. Okay, so now 70% will come to the partners and then 30% for the locals. That's not fair. And that is not how you absorb unemployment. This is not how you become independent. This is not how you become good. We need to make sure that Africa benefit Africans first, and then the others after. I'm not saying we have to close our borders. Then we have to make sure that no, but the primary beneficiary of African resources must be Africans. That is the message I want to convey to the decision makers. And for the youth, I want to say to them, take what belongs to you. Do not wait. Sit in your desk, sitting in your house and waiting for people to come and tell you, oh, for you to be successful, I have to be part of it. No. Go start with anything. And trust me, we have a very, 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 very strong youth. Having the belief to take a boat with all the risk to cross Atlantics because you want to be successful. I have a lot of respect and admiration for that. Because I myself, Moustapha, I know that if I wasn't successful, I would have never had, excuse my language, I would have never had the balls to do so. So if these kids are doing that, it's because they have something extremely powerful. Let us use that power that they have and transform it into opportunities by helping them know, realize, believe that this continent is theirs, that this continent have everything, that this continent must be built by its population, not the other way around. We have never seen a country develop a nation. We have never seen an organizations develop a nation. No. A nation is developed by a nation. The own nation, the own population. This is how it works. This has been how it worked then. It's how it works now. And it will be the same. Nobody can change it. So I think that's what we all need to put in mind and drive. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very, very much, Moustapha. Thanks a lot for making the time. And to the audience that has joined us today, I mean, there are tips and tricks to live by. Personally, I am excited. I hope I can make my first million very soon. And
of course, I'm sure you can, because I'm following you too, and you're doing the right moves. So you're from Kenya and you're in Senegal now. What for? Because you're following the dream, right? Yeah,
because I'm like, the opportunity is across Africa.
You're going to London because you work with BBC, right? But
I can. Senegal is the place to be.
That's the right.
This is what happens when I listen to people like you, because now I'm like, okay, my mind is changed and I am here. I mean, I have many conversations we've had, but I have learned so much, Moustapha, today. And for me, I think you hit the nail home with the mindset, especially when it comes to everything on the continent. And I hope that the audience is picking something from this. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for making the time. And for all the listeners joining us from all over the world, thanks again for keeping it with us on the Entrepreneurial Mindset. And see you next time on the next episode. Thanks,
Thank you, Maggie. Thanks so much. Thank you.
This has been the OYA Entrepreneurial Mindset Podcast. Tune in to stay up to date on each new episode for more inspiring stories. Share your entrepreneurial journey with us using the hashtag #WeNeedOYA. A link to our website and social media is available in the description of the episode.